Four people. Four people like, one person in. How's that happen? Two people. How is everyone? Brian Mons, how are you, my friend? Hope you are doing well. There's Jesse Good, Robert Jarrett, Mr. Haunted, you early bird, you. There's Janie, the channel's mascot. No, I'm just kidding. The channel's godmother. The channel's mascot. I'm only kidding, Janie. You know I have much love for you. What's up, Locklear? How are you, my friend? Welcome back. The McCoy, how are you? Harry, Just B. Al, how are you? Hollow. Holy shit, it's moving quick. Y'all popping in. What's up, Sonny? Lake Superior, Wesley September, DL. Elsa, how are you? Zane, how are you? Revision. Tom. Paul Williams, how are you, buddy? John Collins. Victor, how are you? Brian Mons, we call him Locklear. His name is Locklear here. Locklear. It's way cooler. Way cooler. Cat Ortega, how are you? Dang, it's cold in Topeka. We're beating you by 8 degrees. It's like 34 in upstate. Probably last week revision. It was either Mr. Shackleneck or Aramic. Isila. Okay. Thank you. Ryu, how are you? Charles Carroll, how are you, buddy? Bankhead National Forest. Dang. 6 inches of snow in Minnesota. Oh, my goodness. What's up, SDL? We're supposed to be 18. It's been chilly up here, but my Thanksgiving was good. Thank you for asking, Jane. How was everyone else's Thanksgiving? Southern Charmer, how are you? My Thanksgiving was actually really cool because I reached out to my new favorite band, and like on their business page on Instagram, and the lead singer reached back out to me, and that was so cool. He likes cryptids. He checked out the channel, so that was pretty cool. If you guys like, I didn't get a haircut. It's just kind of messy right now. There we go. If you guys like any kind of industrial metal that's so awesome, like good industrial metal, there's a great band called 3 Teeth. So good. So good. Everyone, I'm on the phone. Can't read y'all tonight. Thanks, SDL. Vertebraker, how are you? Long time. Papa OM. OAM. Dacio, how are you? Monkey? Monkey? And what's crazy is like, I asked him, I wanted to buy this vinyl that's like, not in print anymore. So I was like, and I gotten Abby, my oldest daughter. I have a vinyl collection, and so my oldest daughter kind of got into vinyl too. And like when I say vinyl collection, I have probably like 300, maybe more, albums, ranging from like the Rocky Horror Picture Show original album from 75 to like the new Deftones, to a group called Horror. But I had actually got Abby into vinyl, and I had ordered her this rare vinyl. She Wants Revenge from this guy in Europe 2 Christmases ago. And this guy said he had the album that I wanted, Three Teeth album. So I sent him the money, and he took his online store off the internet, and I'm like, fuck. So my bank is hopefully going to get my money back. But I was like, I'll buy the album off of you guys if you've got one. And he's like, yeah, I've got one. He's like, maybe I will send it to you sometime soon here. But no, actually what I said was something about the Adirondacks. And he's like, that's crazy, because he had a house north of me, which was pretty cool. So Tyler 420, how are you? DB Mac, how are you? Did anyone see Ermic yet? What's up, Bang? How are you? I always love seeing Bang. For those of you who don't know, Bang sent me his dad's experience from Vietnam back in the day. Back in the day. Yeah, definitely, Locklear. Old vinyl is great too. I mean, vinyl is like, to me, vinyl is just sick. I don't know. I like music. So to me, anything that's, I don't know. I found like a box of old cassettes that I had when I was little. And I had like this like boombox that still works, and I was playing some the other day. And I was like, oh, I made this when I was like fucking 10. Like Anthrax and Public Enemy and some other stuff. There's Jim Baker. How are you? Oh, and I found Jewel 2s. Jewel 2s. I found Mango Pods finally. I had to order them from England. And holy cow, I'm so excited. But this is Apple. And Apple is so good. And they're different. They're different than the regular Jewel. So here's the regular Jewel. Here's the Jewel 2. And they don't sell them in America. I have some awesome Wu-Tang. I have the original Gravedigger 6 Feet Deep from back in the day with 1-800 Do Yourself In. Yeah, Anthrax and Public Enemy, Bring the Noise. But I had mixed like Euphoria. It was like Euphoria, the album Euphoria. Public Enemy album I had but I did like alternate songs. I was pretty freaking goofy when I was little. What's up, Hercules Misfit? Dis, how are you? Long time, Dis. How have you been? Randy Man, Scooby-Doo. There's MJ. How are you? And I'm fucking 49 years old, and I got a fucking pimple right on the tip of my nose. At 49 years old. What the shit is that? Salty Rant, how are you? Julie. I woke up this morning, I went, oh. Like I rubbed my nose. I'm like, fuck, why does my tip of my nose hurt? I walked in the bathroom, I'm like, son of a bitch. I know, STL. Yeah, that would not been good. Been up and down. Well, I'm glad that you're here with us, Dis. What's up, Kay? How are you? Kay Slay? I've never had a pimple on the tip of my nose. It is fucking weird. I can see it. It's like pointing right at you. It's got a little eyeball. It's like, what's up, motherfuckers? It's a Jewel 2. I was just talking about it, monkey. Toby, how are you? ATD. So I got some awesome Lizzo experiences tonight. I've got you encouraged me and gave me some ideas last week, so I put together one, and then the other one. Oh shit! Hang on 1 second. 1 second. Shit. I just scared the shit out of Tigger. Whew. All right. So, got some good Lizzo stories tonight. Got some awesome. Otis Driftwood, how are you? Wow, Otis is here tonight too. Haven't seen you in a while. Marianne Sanchez, how are you? I ran through the living room, down the stairs. Tigger must have jumped off my bed. He's like standing in the middle of the living room like this. Eli, how are you? I got to catch my breath and then we'll start. Oh. St. Louis. I'm surprised he's not in here right now because I swear to God, for the last 2-3 days, he's been nothing but annoying. He's like right there looking at me. I'm like, God damn it. Whew. All right, we'll start this off with there's John Sumner. How are you, buddy? Tina Marie. Boats and Jose, how are you? Nightmare 74. Io. No Aramic. You know who I haven't seen either in a while? It's Pups. Aramic. I did speak to Shackleneck this week. What's up, Peanut? How are you? Eric Baker. I'm doing well, Nightmare. I hope you're doing well. All right, let's start this night off with a kind of rather weird experience. No, I'm not getting a haircut. I don't like getting haircuts. And when I've been growing my hair out since like December. And I just get it trimmed. Actually, I got a trim a couple days ago. So, all right. My experiences with whatever it may have been in an abandoned building. First experience, age 8 through 10, at around 7:30 to 8:30. It was the first time I had seen this ghost or whatever. My friend, my brother, his friend, and I were playing cricket near an abandoned building. I was the bowler, and when my friend hit the ball hard, it rolled away and stopped in front of the building's gate. As I went to retrieve it, I saw a white figure standing there, around 5 or 6 feet tall, human-shaped but completely white with no eyes or face. I froze in fear and told my friend to get the ball instead. He saw it as well and immediately ran home terrified. My brother's friend, who hadn't seen it yet, insisted on retrieving the ball. I warned him about the figure. He didn't believe me. As he went and picked it up, the white figure vanished in an instant. Daryl, what's up? On the second encounter, 11th Standard at around 8 p.m. near the same building. One evening, my mom sent me to buy groceries from the shop near that abandoned building. Right next to it, another building was being reconstructed, and the watchman was stationed outside. As I was walking, I saw a black figure about 40 meters away. I initially thought it was the watchman, but as I got closer, I heard a loud, inhuman scream. It was not like male or female voice, but something beyond that. The sound was so loud that it could be heard from 50 kilometers away, yet it did not hurt my ears. I kept walking forward, trying to figure out exactly what it was. That's when I noticed the figures gripping the wall. Each finger was about a foot long. As it pulled itself up, it stood at around 8 feet in height, completely pitch black with no face, eyes, or nose. Panicked, I ran straight home. After 20 minutes, I took a friend back with me to investigate, but nothing was there. The third encounter, 12th standard, late night, 12:30 a.m. at least. At this point, I was working part-time as an electrician. One night after finishing work late, I was walking past that same abandoned building. Suddenly, I felt chills and goosebumps. It felt like something was behind me. I turned around and saw that white figure again. This time, it was sitting at a distance of about 20 meters from me. I did not stay to find out any more. I ran home as fast as I could. My final encounter, at around 9 p.m., physical contact during demolition. Years later, the abandoned building was being demolished for reconstruction. One day, my friends and I were playing hide and seek near the site. I was the seeker, and they were all hiding. It gives me hints. To give me hints, they made monkey-like screams or called my name. Following the sounds, I climbed the wall to peek inside the haunted building where one of my friends was hiding behind a tree. As I pushed myself to jump in, something pulled me in. It didn't feel like hands or a grab, but rather like an invisible force, like gravity dragging me down. I landed upside down, hitting my knees and forearms hard, causing intense pain. I immediately winced in pain and home. At that moment, I knew something physically had pulled me. Now, I am an atheist. I do not believe in God or ghosts, but I can't believe what I saw in my past. I frequently ask the first encounter to my brother, and he still says no ghost or nothing was over there. You were just scared to run over. But still to this day, whenever I remember these incidents, my body shivers in fear. Steph, how are you? Anushka, how are you? Samara Osborne. Edith, Wanda, AG. Roj, how are you? No Arabic yet. There's George Coker. How are you, buddy? Destroyer of the Worlds, Ricardo. Rhonda, how are you? Cynthia, how are you? Snow, wind, and cold. That's no good. This Thanksgiving was awesome. I had a feeling my crazy uncle was going to pull up to the function with a belly full of Pepto. Hannah Banana, I'm doing well. How are you? I made some deviled eggs this year. I got invited to. So my mom can't cook. I've told you guys before that Big Gene cannot cook worth beans. Really, there was just, she just doesn't cook good, and she didn't cook a lot when I was a kid. So they do their own thing. My mom and dad, they usually go to my cousin's house, which is right across the street. And, so they invited me there, of course, but I was going to stay home and just chill. And then my daughter's boyfriend, Caleb, his mom invited me to their house for Thanksgiving dinner. So I went there and had fun. It was pretty cool. But I made deviled eggs. Man, for my mom, my mom's fucking pork chops were like leather. It was like biting into a sneaker. I remember one time she made a boiled dinner. She made a boiled ham dinner, and it was dry. How do you fucking do that? How do you do that? Yeah, my parents, like, they were weird. What's up, Blue Days? My mom would like overcook the pork chops, so they were just inedible. She's like, you don't want to get trichinosis. I'm like, I also want to be able to taste the meat that I'm fucking eating here. I love pork chops when I cook them. I'm a good cook. But when Big Gene cooks, so I made the deviled eggs for their party, and everyone's like, "These are the best deviled eggs I've ever had," and I'm like, "Damn, must have been the zit on the tip of my nose helping me out." What's up, Nexus? How are you? Never had no gumbo, but I bet your gumbo is good. I did break the cycle. I did break. When my parents celebrated their 50th wedding anniversary, I had them here to eat and made the joke like, this is how you cook. I used it was I didn't know how it would taste, but I had some smoked paprika. So I used that instead of regular paprika. It actually was really nice. I was like, dang, this is good. It had that like smoky flavor with like the mustard and egg flavor. Damn good. What's up, Zilla? How are you? Happy Thanksgiving. All right, here. Got a couple Dogman experiences. Ooh, I got a little person experience for you. We'll do this little person experience, and then we'll do a Lizzo experience or the height challenged. I live on a reservation in Saskatchewan, and being native, we believe in a lot of spirits. I've also had plenty of encounters growing up as something used to follow me. My parents would call me gifted just because I'd seen or experienced a lot. One day I went to visit a friend, Alicia and Sam, at about 10 at night. We stayed out late having a fire and watching the shooting stars. 4:30 a.m. comes, so me and the same decide to walk home just because we live down the same road. My friend Alicia lived along the main highway that ran through the reservation, so that was the way we took back to our road. It's about a 15-minute walk to the other road we had to walk to start our way home. But as we walked down the paved road, we noticed something in the ditch between the path and the highway. It had looked like someone crawling on all fours up to the highway, what I thought was my cousin Dallas trying to play a joke on us because he had walked around at night sometimes, which now makes no sense. My friend Sam had said, "What the fuck is that?" somewhat calmly. I replied, "I don't know." So we had shined our phone lights on it. I remember so vividly getting somewhat face to face with it, and it looked like the face made of smoke with all the facial feature details. My phone had died, being 25%. So when Sam shined his light, he looked too, the same thing. His phone suddenly died, being at 70%. So we ran. I remember hearing its feet slapping on the pavement, chasing us as we got to the grid road, which we then now had an hour to walk until our destination. Sam looked at me in shock, scared, and said, "Levi, run." I laughed, thinking he was joking. Why? And he replied, "Just fucking run." Look down. I looked down, and there had been this little person about knee height walking close beside me. We started running again for about 5 minutes, and when we stopped, we didn't see or hear it after that. To this day, my friend Alicia doesn't believe us just due to joking around so much at the time. But honestly, I only remember so well just because I was a bigger kid at the time. And I had been the fastest out of all of our friends. And this thing actually kept up with me. All right, that'll be right after the Lizzo story. All right, so 2 of the Lizzo stories are connected tonight. So what we'll do is, Richard Windsor, how are you? 2 of the Lizzo stories are connected, so I will read those last. So I'll do this one, and then in about a half an hour, 40 minutes, do the next one, and then like a half an hour after that, do the one that's connected to the 2. All right, here we go. And this one's long, too. This one's a little longer than normal. Yeah, they are. Pukwudgies are in Delaware. You weren't here the other night, Tyler. Brian Mons, he lives in Massachusetts by the swamp area. But there's a running joke about Brian Mons always spanking his Pukwudgie. But the other day, or not the other day, a couple weeks ago, I did a Pukwudgie story where they were hot pink and coming out of the swamps to fight Lizzo. Over my toe when I was outside. That's a little weird. That's kind of scary. That's a little scary, Rosie. A 2-inch little person. What if it was like a cockroach? It's a Native American. What's up, Amanda? How are you? Nice seeing you tonight. How was your Thanksgiving? I'm sure it was wild. Oh, shit, Mr. Haunted. Thank you so much, brother. No, I'm joking with you, Rosie. I was joking. Thank you, Jimmy. You know I love you, brother. You know I love you. The Chrome Cactus truck stop was not a place where dreams were made, but it was certainly where they occasionally came to retire, smelling faintly of old coffee and existential dread. It was midnight. The air conditioners were fighting a losing battle against the South Texas humidity. In the back lot, nestled between a mountain of discarded fan belts and a faded sign advertising all-you-can-eat fried catfish, sat the sovereign ruler of this greasy kingdom, Lizzo, the lot lizard. Lizzo was majestic. She wore a purple velvet jogging suit studded entirely with rhinestones and enormous gravity-defying hairpiece that looked like it contained the secrets of the universe. Beside her, guarding a cooler of White Claw and high aspirations, was Earl. Earl was less glamorous, mostly muscle, a slightly confused expression, and a denim vest, but fiercely loyal. "Earl, honey," Lizzo drawled, applying a layer of lip gloss so thick that it would stop a bullet. "I've been smelling nothing but diesel fumes and desperation for 2 hours. I need some drama. I need a challenge. I need a man who knows how to treat a queen right." Before Earl could offer to replenish her supply of pork rinds, the silence was shattered by the sound that did not belong. A frantic, high-pitched clang-clang of a bicycle bell, and the terrified squeak of cheap. Very familiar man on a battered red bicycle torpedoed past the fuel pumps and skidded directly into Lizzo's meticulously arranged encampment. He was wearing his signature gray suit, bright red bow tie, and a helmet askew. It was none other than Pee Wee Herman. And he looked like he had just seen Satan file his taxes. Lizzo, Lizzo, the lot lizard, Pee-wee shrieked, ditching his bicycle, which promptly fell over with a pathetic metallic clatter. He scrambled behind Lizzo's throne, a customized lawn chair, attempting to use her substantial presence as a shield. You have to hide me. She's coming. She's relentless. I told her I didn't have any change for the toll booths, and now she wants my soul. Lizzo raised a perfectly sculptured eyebrow. Honey, I haven't seen this level of panic since the discount Fiat. Oh my God. Discount. Why is my fucking brain not working? Discount night at Family Dollar. Who exactly is she? Large Marge, Pee-wee wailed, burying his face in Lizzo's rhinestone thigh. The ghost trucker, the one who delivers pain, the most evil, terrifying entity to haunt the I-10. She chased me through 3 states after I accidentally cut her off trying to get to the dinosaur park. Lizzo looked down at this quivering little figure. The story was absurd, yet the terror radiating off of Pee-wee was palatable enough to curdle a White Claw. Large March, Lizzo muttered, thoughtfully tapping a scarlet acrylic nail on her chin. I'd heard rumors. Spends her afterlife running scoffs off the road, cackling on the CB radio. Voice that sounds like grinding bones. You know what, Pee-wee? I believe you. She checked her gold watch, which was the size of a dinner plate. You came to the right place. Queens don't hide, sweetie. Queens protect. Earl, get my good wrench. Yes, Queen, Earl replied, looking significantly less terrified than Pee-wee. And Pee-wee, Lizzo added, you better pray all that wholesome energy you got is strong enough to ward off the evil, because the clock is ticking. As if summoned by a demonic dispatcher, the air temperature dropped 30 degrees. The fluorescent lights of the truck stop began flickering violently, and all the parked 18-wheelers began to wail their spectral air horns simultaneously, a bone-chilling symphony. 6 minutes and 66 seconds later, Lizzo whispered, standing tall, right on time chaos. The smell hit first, ozone, stale cigarette smoke, and the heavy, metallic stench of fresh malice. A plume of sickly green fog rolled down the exit ramp, and out of it materialized a semi-truck, a Kenworth K100 Aerodyne vintage 1970s, but entirely transparent, powered by pure hatred. Behind the spectral windshield sat Large Marge. She was indeed large, a towering figure even in death. Encased in a stained denim jacket, her eyes were hollow sockets glowing a malevolent brake light red, and a smile stretched across her face was horrifying portrait of final, eternal road rage. The ghost truck braked with a shriek, a sound that made the very asphalt weep. Pee-wee Herman! Large Marge's voice boomed, amplified by the spectral CB radio, shaking the very foundations of the chrome cactus. You know what I'm going to do to you when I get you with your bike? I'm going to shred it and use the pieces for my grill ornament. Lizzo stepped forward. Planting her purple rhinestone heel firmly on the ground, she pulled a Bluetooth speaker the size of a cinder block from her pocket and effortlessly cranked it up. The intro to Good as Hell blasted out, immediately disrupting Marge's booming voice. Hold up, boo! Lizzo shouted over the music, hands on her hips. You pulled up to the wrong rest stop, driving that busted spectral jalopy. If you're looking for the kid in that tiny suit, you'll have to go through the Queen. Large Marge laughed, a sound that fountly transmission dying a terrible death. A lot lizard, you think your little sparkly wig and your cheap perfume can stop me? I'm a soul collector of I-10. Get out of my way, or I'll run you down so fast you'll be haunting the truck stop vending machines. Honey, my perfume is designer, Dior, Lizzo corrected, genuinely offended. And darling, listen up. I am 100% that bitch, and I deal with the undead and the criminally neglected on a daily basis. You're just a glorified road sign. With a scream of pure fury, Large Marge gunned the engine. The spectral truck lurched forward, surrounded by an aura of toxic phantom exhaust. The fight was instant and epic. Marge began throwing phantom truck tires, which Lizzo sidestepped with surprising agility, barely spilling her iced tea. Earl, wielding his crescent wrench, managed to deflect a particularly nasty spectral mudflap aimed at his queen. Stop throwing trash, Marge. That's bad for the environment, Lizzo yelled. Marge's spectral form leaned out the window, her red eyes burning. Fear is my fuel, and your little boy toy is all out. She targeted Earl with a concentrated blast of pure corrosive anxiety, causing the poor man to drop his wrench and start frantically reorganizing the nearby trash cans. Lizzo realized Marge wasn't relying on physical strength. She fed on dread, insecurity, and the generalized malice of life on the road. Earl, stop organizing, you Sally. You got a purpose, Lizzo commanded. But Marge was already focused on Lizzo unleashing a terrifying vision of Lizzo's worst fears. A world with no more sequence, no body positivity, and lukewarm tea. Lizzo stumbled back, momentarily shaken. Marge's ghostly hand reached out, ready to pull Lizzo's soul straight out of her rhinestone jumpsuit. No attraction, a minor league mascot, Large Marge roared, her power peaking. But Lizzo's confidence was not easily exhausted. She looked at Marge right in those horrifying red eye sockets. Oh, you think you won, Lizzo sneered, her eyes glittering with righteous fury. You think fear runs this place, baby? I'm the queen of the lot lizard truck stop prostitutes. I'm beautiful, I'm strong, and I love myself harder than you hate living. Lizzo grabbed the nearby weapon, a greasy, slightly hot dog roller from a discarded concession stand, but instead of swinging it, she found her true power. She turned her booming speaker to max volume and slammed the play button on her ultimate hype song. The bass dropped so hard it broke two windows in the adjacent dining area. Clint, thank you so much, brother. Lizzo didn't fight with fists. She fought with fierce, four-octave self-celebration. She started dancing a magnificent, earth-shaking, powerful twerk that radiated pure, unadulterated joy and confidence. Every move was a declaration of self-worth. The sheer tsunami of Lizzo's positive energy amplified the thunderous music, hit Large Marge like a metaphorical brick. Marge, powered by eternal negativity, could not handle the force of genuine, unapologetic self-love. The ghost truck began to stutter, its spectral chassis vibrating violently. Marge screamed, not with rage, but with pain, recoiling from the overwhelming positive vibes. For 4 long hours, past 4 a.m., as the final rays of dawn were just hitting the war-raged, Lizzo danced, shimmied, and shouted affirmations while Marge struggled to maintain her molecular integrity against the ferocious flood of 100% That Bitch remixes. Finally, with a sound like a million simultaneous flat tires, Large Marge's ghost truck dissolved, a green fog vanished, the lights stabilized. And the only remaining evidence of the war was the faint scent of ozone and a slightly melted heart. Lizzo stood panting, sweat dripping, her magnificent hairpiece victorious. Pee-wee crept out from behind the dumpster, his helmet still askew. He looked at Lizzo with awe. Tears streamed down the little man's face. Lizzo, you saved me. You saved my bike. You are the most magnificent, powerful woman I have ever met, Pee-wee sobbed, clutching her hand. How can I ever repay you? Lizzo, already applying a fresh layer of lip gloss, winked. Just keep spreading the word, honey. Tell everyone who saved your skin when Large Marge threatened to turn you into a hood ornament. As the sun finally crawled over the horizon, painting the truck stop in ugly shades of pink and orange, Lizzo signaled to Earl, who was now fully recovered and beaming. Earl, honey, she announced, striking a dramatic pose under the broken fluorescent bulb. Get the champagne bucket. We just survived a supernatural smackdown and protected a national treasure. We earned this. Lizzo put her hands on her hips, looked out over her newly secured domain. She had defeated the scariest ghost trucker on the highway. Because when you are a queen, fear just doesn't stand a chance against a confident woman with great music and a powerful message. Clint, thank you so much, buddy. Appreciate the love, brother. What's up, Savage? How are you? True Seeker, how are you? Andy Davis. What's up, Neutrino? Clint, again. Thank you. Holy shit. Delirium. There's Maggie Mayhem. How are you? Nicole, how are you? Now you're going to be watching Pee Wee Herman tonight, I bet you. You're going to be like, shit, I need to watch Pee Wee. What's up, Gavin? I honestly don't know how it works. I missed that. I know you have, Clint. You have. You've been missed, brother. What's up, Scott? But thank you for your love. I appreciate you. Ooh, Howard the Duck would be good too. Ooh, wait, didn't I do a Howard the Duck once? I think I did. This is the second Pee Wee I've done. Oh, Pee Wee, he cut Large Marge off on his bike. He's like, fucking little. Nick Carroll, how are you? 30th birthday. Happy birthday, my friend. Happy birthday to Nick Carroll. Happy birthday to Nick. Happy birthday to Nick. Happy birthday to Nicky. Happy birthday to you. Preferred method? Just me. Send me an email, please. I don't use Facebook. Emails are the best way to get in touch with me. Nick, happy birthday, brother. For real. And if you need my email, just let me know. One of my mods will put it out, hopefully, because I can't type. I cannot believe I found mango jewel pods, man. I am so happy. And they only sell them in the UK. How awesome is that? And if you guys want some, go over to EvelynVapes.com. That's where I got them. Yeah, Troy, EvelynVapes.com. Did you know in Vermont they can sell legalized vapes, like flavored vapes? In New York, they just don't. They're like, no. That was gross. So gross. Nice, Nick. A nice ribeye is good for your birthday. Nice ribeye. Hell yeah. Yeah, New York is BS. New York makes us get freaking semi-automatic rifle licenses now. I don't drink, monkey crap. If I'm sober, which I've said about 100 times and you know it, you just troll me constantly. You and freaking Jimmy Baker. Yeah, it's the magic mushrooms. Dang, True Seeker. Dude, I'm telling you, this band that I've liked them for a while, Like I listened to him probably like a year ago. I got introduced to him like 4 years ago, but I listened to him like a year ago for good. Like when I bought this other band called Horror. Horror is spelled HO9909. And they kind of like Bad Brains meets fuck. I don't even know. Bad Brains meets Gravediggers, I guess. And but Three Teeth does this song called Drift. Holy shit. I'll just play a bit of it real quick for you all here, just so you can hear the beginning. Such a good song. Such a good song. Nine Inch Nails is awesome. Oh, Ice Nine Kills? I gotta check them out. Good band. Great band. Three Teeth. Three Teeth. They are like a political metal band. They have a song called President X, and that is a reptilian in a business suit. And they're pretty freaking good, man. They do, you know that song Pumped Up Kids? All the better run faster than my bullet. They do a cover of that. They do a cover of Everyone Wants to Rule the World. They do a Bad Brains cover, actually. Really good band. They've been around for like a while, like 10 years, maybe longer. But I just found them like 4 years ago, but got into them about a year ago. And then like about 3 months ago, started just listening to them a lot. Yeah, they do a cover of Foster. Yup. All right. When I was about 9 or 10 years old, my uncle told me a story that has stuck with me. Growing up in Kentucky, I always heard tales of, Bigfoot or the Pope Lick Goat Man, the usual run-of-the-mill urban legend campfire stories. But in this case of story, my uncle told me it was different than all the other tall tales I had ever heard before or since. Kentucky is home of the world's largest cave systems in the world, Mammoth Cave, since its founding in July 1st, 1941. Only about 365 miles of it has been surveyed by human eye. It's believed that there is still over 600 miles of passageways and caverns yet to be discovered. The national park is stretched over 3 counties, spanning more than 5,000 acres. Edmonson, Hart, and Barron counties. My uncle owned land in Edmonson County since the early 80s. I remember hearing about how when they were out hunting for deer, they would occasionally come across pits in the ground of various sizes. There were mouths of cave entrances. They would usually just toss a barrel or a large tree branch in the hole so no one would stumble across it and fall in and become trapped. Besides wildlife or just getting lost in the woods, there wasn't really much else you had to worry about, according to most people. This experience takes place in the early 90s, about 5 years after my uncle purchased the land. His closest neighbor, we'll call him Ken, lived about a half a mile down the road that ran parallel to both of their properties. They naturally became good friends over time and on occasion would accompany each other hunting. My uncle lived in Louisville and would visit his property when he had off days or needed to do some upkeep like mowing or restocking the pond. So, unlike his neighbor Ken, he spent more than most of the year in Louisville. On this particular weekend, Ken went out hunting for deer. He left his cabin and headed off into the woods as he had done 100 times before. He followed the path that he had used plenty of times to a small grouping of trees overlooking a large meadow. According to him, it was a perfectly sunny day. With not many clouds in the sky, he sat in the shadows underneath some low-hanging tree branches, feeling hidden from any would-be prey that might come by. Despite it being ideal weather for hunting, he did not see much in terms of game. Just a few fawn and a doe, not a big trophy buck like he was hoping for. He had been entertaining the idea of just grabbing his gear and heading back to the cabin, but but not wanting to go home empty-handed, he decided to stick around a while longer in hopes his luck would change. Clint, thank you so much, buddy. His chest fluttered when he looked across the meadow to the left and he saw movement in the tree line opposite of him. He pulled his rifle to his shoulder and looked down the scope. The thick trees and foliage at the edge of the tree line prevented him from getting a good view of the animal in his sights. From what he could tell, it was heading toward the edge of the woods. He just had to be patient. When it stepped out of the shadows of the trees about 50 yards away and into the clearing, he knew almost immediately that he was not looking at a deer. He tried to keep his hands from shaking his rifle as he desperately tried to identify exactly what he was looking at. He described its body of that of a panther, but the upper torso, where the shoulders and neck were, sat noticeably higher than its lower back and hind legs. He was looking at its side profile, which he claimed, while in mid-stride, this thing was close to 7 feet in length. He said it was quiet like a cat. It never made a noise when it moved. The front legs, he said, looked more like arms, significantly longer and skinnier than its hind legs. It had brittle, dark brown hair that started from the back of its head and ran down the length of its back like a hyena. He also claimed that the creature's skin looked waxy, almost like a chimpanzee. Dark brown, almost black, its face was long like a dog's. But he said he noticed no ears. He said the corners of its mouth ended by its neck where the ears should have been. The most unsettling detail I can remember of this account, though, was the thing's back legs. He described them as looking frog-like, as in the back legs were tucked up close to the creature's sides. When it walked, the leading leg would reach almost to the front half of its body, and the other leg would stretch way back, flat like a frog when it crawls. He watched it for about 2-3 minutes, slowly and quietly moving through the long golden grass. The black shadow surrounded by color, he watched it disappear into the tree line directly across from the woods he had seen it come out of initially. After a few moments, he left and headed back to his cabin. Now, I don't know how long it was after this incident occurred that Ken told my uncle about it, but he was reluctant to speak about it. He dubbed it the Kentucky Howler Crawler. Eventually, Ken explained the full experience in one night while he sat around the fire at my uncle's. Even since then, Ken refused to go into the woods. He claimed to only hunt from the dirt road running through his property afterward. But my uncle and Ken have sadly passed away since, but their story never changed over the years. I even had my uncle retell me this story a few years back, so I knew I had all the details right. Maybe this was just another tall tale used to scare me and my brother when we were kids, camping on my uncle's property. But I know one thing for sure. He was an honest man, and his eyes told the truth when he would tell a story. He had his fair share of unexplainable instances as well. I'm sure anybody would after frequenting a cabin in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky for 30 years. The thing that keeps me up at night, though, isn't the thought of the creature. It's the thought of where it came from. Who's to say this thing did not crawl out of one of those caves spanning hundreds of miles in every direction, hidden from civilization, thriving off the ecosystem? Nothing is impossible when it comes to nature. Nobody really knows for sure what is out there in the dark. Dang. Clint, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. Delirium, thank you so much. Don't even worry about it. Dang. I got a crawler for you, buddy. Hang on one second. Thank you, Delirium and Clint. You guys are too kind. Jordy, how are you? Neutrino. There's Johnny Ohm. Johnny Ohm. Let me find that crawler story for you, Clint. I think this is it right here. I think this is it, Clint. If I'm not right, I will try to find it right after. Neutrino, thank you so much. Still buy the RV, Rosie. Don't get put off. Just buy a gun with your RV. Oh, there we go. The old nut shake. All right, Clint, I believe this is a crawler story. If it is not, I will find another one. Firstly, I'd like to give some information about how my bedroom and house is set up so everything makes a little more sense. My room is set up like a square. My bedroom door is tucked in the bottom right corner with my bed against the opposite corner with the foot of the bed facing towards the top of the square. In the front of the square, there is 2 windows at the foot of my bed with maybe a yard of wiggle room so I can walk to the door. Last year was really rough for me, though, and my room was incredibly messy, so the only was I could get to my door was to hop off the foot of the bed and walk past both windows to leave my room. Under the 2 windows in my room is a small roof covering a room on the first floor. The roofing extends a foot past the room's walls on all sides. There is no way to get to this roof. Revision, thank you. To get to this roof unless you went through my windows. There is no way to get on top of my house at all. No trees, no fence, no ladders, nothing. Last year I was up late listening to music. It was almost 12 a.m. It was completely dark outside with the only light in my room being from a shitty lamp I've had since I was a kid. In order for me to be able to sleep, I have to have my fan on. Otherwise, I'll overheat and be very uncomfortable. Because my fan is always on, sometimes loose papers on my floor will flap around. So I'll just get up and move them so I don't have to listen to it. This night, though, I had heard a noise that didn't sound like paper coming from the foot of my bed. I was confused and paused the music to listen. It got louder, and I looked to where the noise was coming from. There was nothing on the ground, but when I looked up, a visceral fear that I had never felt before ran through me. At first, I thought it was a dog outside of my window or a fox, but it was so unnatural. It was peeking into my window, and I could see its head and its pure white, unblinking eyes. The creature was the thing causing the noise, which I realized was scratching on the metal mesh outside my window. We stared at each other. It was huge. The creature started walking along both of my windows, scratching along the metal until it disappeared off the side. Its back looked similar to that of a porcupine. I can't describe it. It was just sharp and dangerous and made me breathe hitch. Made me breathe hitch? I don't know what that is. I waited a few minutes thinking it was gone and started inching towards the foot of my bed so that I could get the hell out of my room. It walked past across again, scratching the mesh before sitting at the window in front of me and just staring at me. It paced between my windows for a bit before walking off the side and disappearing, keeping those white eyes on me the entire time. Once I knew it was gone, I kept my eyes on the window all times and backed out of my room, sprinted down the hall to tell my parents, who were very disinterested. And that was that. I walked back into my room and kept the lights on as I cried and just stared out the windows. I slept with my lamp on since. A few months later, I had to move schools. That's where I met my friend Allie. We bonded instantly and became good friends. 7 months into our friendship, she opened up to me about her paranormal experiences and how she thinks she has some things that follow her around. She's told me a lot of them, but the last one made me stop. Allie started complaining about this creature that she had seen a few times in her life, what she thought was a dog, and how it freaks her out. Before then, I had never told anyone about what I saw, but she described it perfectly. After she finished, I opened up about how I saw the same exact thing, and since then, I've been trying to help her with her spiritual attachments. I've always dealt with paranormal stuff, and I am very spiritual, so nothing usually phases me. I've been dragged out of my bed by a leg when a spirit was mad. I've been woken up in the middle of the night by a spirit trying to talk to me. I see auras around people, etc. But this is a rare occasion that something genuinely freaked me out. Allie is dealing with some demonic stuff. Like, I am talking scary demonic stuff. She lives on a native land, Wampanoag tribal land, and has dealt with some of her own supernatural stuff as well. And my town also has Native American roots, which makes me wonder if this dog-like creature could be something native. Maybe it was scoping me out before I met her, since I've been helping her manage with her supernatural stuff in life. I have no clue. Anyway, thank you for letting me share. I got to find another one, Clint. I'm sorry, buddy. Clint, thank you. Thank you. I'll find it. Hang on. I know I have another crawler one. I have a couple of them. Turbo Christ. Clint is spreading the love. It's better than spreading whatever. Spreading the herp. Nah, I didn't have a time to I didn't leave the house today to go and pick some up. I know it doesn't taste right. At midnight on Saturday, that glass Mexican Coke, just, oof. Nothing better than some glass Mexican Coke. What's up, Ginger? Let me find this crawler experience. I know I got one. Strange encounter. Is this it? No, that's not it. That's not it. The fuck is it? I know I got one for you, Clint. I'm sorry, buddy. Has Ermic popped in yet? Kathy Hayes, how are you? 59th pop in. Ricardo, how are you? Tina, have a good night. Thank you for popping in. Herps is the gift that keeps on giving. I don't want no herps. No herps for me. Get that fucking herp away from me. Is this it? I think this is it, if I'm not mistaken. I think this might be it. This might be it, Clint. Lisa McDonald, how are you? Good night, Tina. Have a good night. Sweet dreams. And there is Mr. Shackleneck from the land of Illinois, the neck that still shackles, Mr. Shackleneck. James Kaufman, how are you, buddy? Clint, I think this is it. I'm not sure. I apologize. I know I have one. I'm pretty sure. This is not it. Motherfucker. Maybe this is it. Yeah, I think this is it. This might be it. This might be it, Clint. My friend and I decided to go explore some supposedly haunted woods connecting to the skate park in our town. He's told me a couple stories about whatever is in there in limited detail, but I've heard from several other accounts that some strange things do go on in there. One time, said friend got chased out of there by something he described as a very tall humanoid with abnormally long arms. Another account from him and another friend of when walking down the trail, they hear something behind them. When they turn around, there is a stone devil statue facing them that was not there before. The stories sound unbelievable, but given the earnestness in how they were told, I'm inclined to believe them, at least to some extent. Maybe I'm naive, but whatever. Anyway, to the actual experience. It feels normal as we pull into the parking lot. About 5 minutes after we hit the trails, I felt the hairs on the back of my neck stand up, as if something was watching us, or at least aware of our presence. About 5 minutes after that, the trail takes us to a small river. At the bend of the trail, I saw a pair of bright, glowing eyes before whatever was watching us hid behind some foliage. We got the fuck out of there immediately. As we were leaving, my friend looked behind us and said, "It's following us, don't turn around." We made it back to the truck in one piece and got out of there. I'm going to go back tomorrow and document what I find. Maybe record something if it's safe enough to do so. My friend thinks it's a skinwalker, but I am not so sure as we live in Oregon. And to my best of my knowledge, skinwalkers originate from Navajo, a man of my own frickin' knowledge. Thank you, my friend. Edit. I went back this morning at noon, and it was the most unnerving. It was mostly uneventful, but I felt very on edge as soon as I reached the trail. I walked 45 minutes without incident, though I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. This time I managed to actually reach the river before I started hearing things. It sounded like there was a baby crying behind some large blackberry bushes on the other side of the river. Not long after that, something big started making its way through the path leading to the other side of the river. That's when I decided to leave. 15 minutes later, I made it to the parking lot before I heard some kind of howl or screech or whatever it was. It sounded similar to someone mimicking a howl of a wolf, but slightly off. Definitely something sounded off about it. The actual park was completely devoid of activity, but it's possible that some group of kids were just messing around. I don't know. I'm going to go back once again. Maybe I can find something. Anyway, thanks for letting me share. Shackleneck, thank you so much, buddy. Love you, brother. No, I don't think 59th is in here yet. I haven't seen 59th. I haven't seen Ermic. I haven't seen Pups. Who else haven't I seen? I see Jane, though. There's Wiley. How are you, Wiley? Oh. Yeah, 5 rings. San Francisco Shitwater isn't here tonight. Janie, you're going to bed? Rochelle, if it's just because there's a river doesn't mean it's a water baby. Because there's there's creatures that, like, if you've ever heard of me talk about Dulce, and according to Phil Schneider, Tom Castiello, there are creatures that were created in the lab at Dulce that mimic baby cries, but people have heard babies crying in the woods that there's no water near them. So, and usually it's what a crawler may be. A water baby is, it's native lore, and they drowned the people. I bet you it's active 100% neutrino. It's not humanly created. A water baby is Native American lore. It's a cryptid of some sort, or a spirit, and it cries like a baby. A person goes into the water to rescue it, and they drowned. But yeah, I mean, Dulce was Dulce before the military got even involved. Neutrino. I mean, usually they're not in rivers. I believe they're usually like in a lake or still water. This. Not for the most part. I mean, aliens. That's aliens control it for the most part. Is kind of a goofy thing, because like they are the ones who created it, and like they gave us their energy, their weapons, their technology. So they are 100%. I mean, all an alien technically really is a demon, if you really think about it, and yeah, no, but like they literally are just, they're running everything. The whole Luciferian agenda. Yeah, I haven't heard water baby in a freaking shit long time, man. That's a good one too. I haven't heard that in forever. Thank you for bringing that up. Let me see. I wanna native lore. Water baby comes from the folklore various Native American tribes, particularly in western United States and the Great Basin, where they are dangerous water spirits said to inhabit rivers, lakes, and springs. They often appear as infants, and their cries are believed to be an omen of disaster, while picking them up is said to lead to catastrophe, such as drowning or bad luck. While some legends suggest they are ghosts of drowned infants, others describe them as a different being altogether. Some appearances, they often appear as beautiful human-like infants, sometimes with fishtail or reptilian features. I haven't heard that in so long. Yeah, the Paiute, the Shushan, Ohio Lake, Washone. Pyramid Lake. That's where I heard them. Pyramid Lake has a really, really gnarly legend of them. Speaking of aliens, Neutrino, I got one for you. I want to talk about a very strange experience that happened to me. I hope that you guys will at least have some idea of what this may be. So I'm asleep, dreaming. The content of this dream isn't important, so I'll skip that. What's weird is what happened after. I woke up, but my eyes were closed, just black, But in my mind or on my eyes, I don't know, I saw something like a sound wave or frequency. The waves were kind of dancing around, but it increased in size and frequency. For some reason, I said, "Thank you for the dream, Mr. Alien Man." I think something made me think they were involved somehow. I don't remember now, but that's what I said in my mind, and I was awake at that point. As soon as I said that, they, as in whoever did this, zapped me with images. That's the best way I can describe it. There was an intense, very real, very vivid case of sudden visuals appearing. It felt like there were images on top of other images. Well, calling them images is kind of wrong because it was more like symbols and shapes, like code language. The shapes stacked on top of each other made a kind of gray alien face at the top. I mean, from my point of view. And the face moved and made facial expressions as the data below moved and changed. The face laughed. When I was zapped with the images, I got scared and woke up fully. I mean, I was awake, but my body woke up too, reacting in a knee-jerk way. The images continued in my eyes, but they were quickly dispersing. I could see them with my eyes open as well, the alien face included, and it was still moving, but I closed my eyes so I could see more. But within moments, they were completely gone. And I was fine until this happened. But as the image zapping occurred, I had a massive headache struck on my forehead. Then it went to the back of my head, but it was very bad. So I took some pain medicine. Headaches on that level last sometimes days for me. A single painkiller is never enough. But within half an hour, I was fine. Sure, painkiller helped, but I think it was the sudden hit that gave me the headache. Then it was kind of less of a burden for my brain, I believe. I mean, whatever the symbols or shapes or that code meant. I don't remember what the symbols were at all, just the face on top of them that made it. I think they gave me information that I didn't process or understand. I think it's stored in my brain right now. This just happened a couple nights ago. Also, I had this understanding after the event that the frequency was in my mind. I did gateway tapes and meditation for various reasons. One of being trying to contact non-human intelligence. I think the frequency in my mind kind of synced up with them or something that belongs to them. And it would be for a very brief moment. So they had to zap me with the info within a brief moment. And it was not pleasant for me. They couldn't contact me before my frequency synced up or not at that level anyway, I think. Also, something I just knew somehow after or during the event. I think they can't or won't talk like us. They communicated in images and symbols, very complex. I think they were doing what they were doing without me being aware of it. But when I gained consciousness and became aware of the signal, then when I said, "Thank you for my dream, Mr. Alien Man," instead of being afraid, I think they found that funny and maybe taken my response as a form of acceptance and dumped the rest of the information. Not to hurt me, but to channel was closing. So they had to do it. Just wanted to share my experiences. Am I crazy? I don't know. Thanks, guys. Rochelle, thank you so much. You're probably going to have to refresh your screen. Nick Carroll, thank you on your birthday, my friend. Thank you. You'll probably have to refresh, Rochelle, to be honest with you. It's not me. Oh, I'll buy the Amanda, if you make that shirt, I'll buy the shirt. I got to do the shake already. Ugh. There we go. Get those nuts unstuck. Oh, I believe aliens are demons 100%. Oh, I'm having a bad hair night tonight. I've seen the Goat Man. Damn, buddy. The Descent is awesome, isn't it? Instead of the Harlem Shuffle, call it the Upstate Shake. Lucen Gray, how are you? When Jane was sick, Truth Seeker, Jane was sick, and I sent her a care package to get better, and it had Bigfoot with an alien, like a UFO over it, and it said who probed who or something like that, but it was funny as hell. Mr. Shackleneck, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Neck. Happy birthday to Brett. Happy birthday to Brett. Happy birthday to you. Oh, thank you, Amanda. Happy birthday, brother. Now, if we can get you to just stop hurting yourself. Ooh, that's a good idea, Tyler. Like, have a dog man standing up, like, and then have another dog man, like, on all fours, like, running, and then have it, like, we're doing it doggy style. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I want to hear your shadow person experience there, John. Send it to me. Andy Davis, what? Nick Carroll and Shackleneck have the same birthday. You guys are like Irish kissing cousins or something. We're gonna have to keep you separated in the freaking chat line here. We don't want you doing anything. Just kidding. Let me check, Mike. Let me make sure I got it, buddy. Did not get it. I'll check my spam real quick. I'll put it in quick for you. So you can get it. Spam. Nope. No, I didn't get it, buddy. Here, I'll put my email in. I don't get emails often, or I get emails, but for some reason Google messes with me. Amanda was supposed to send me an email a while ago, but she didn't. At gmail.com. There you go. I already did your. Yeah. Oh, I didn't know it was you, John. I already did your experience already. Yeah. I thought they were talking about someone else. That's because I didn't get it, Turbo Christ. If anybody ever emails me, and you can ask John this, and anyone that's ever emailed me, I respond, and if I'm busy, I'll be like, "Hey, got your email? Can Can't talk now, we'll email you soon. Like, I always respond with something. So, Google really, I get probably 70% of my emails that people send me for some reason. Mountain Dew! Have a nice shillelagh. I still can't believe it's here. That's so crazy. I cannot believe we got it. I've had a couple of dog women experiences. There's one in Colorado where it was distinctly a dog woman. And I've had one where a guy in Ohio walked up on a couple of dogmen breeding, doing a little love making. Little bit of love making. Time is it? Couple minutes. We'll do a Lizzo experience here. That was so fucking gross. Ew. What the hell? I've had cat people experiences, true. The majority ones that I've had for feline cat, like cat ones, are, they seem to be like closer to Mexico, Texas, lower Louisiana, Oklahoma, lower California, Mexico. But according to the Sumerians, and I was talking about this in an upload that I did the other day, and I shared the picture too, which was so cool. There is a tablet, the Sumerian text tablet, and it's rectangular. So it's a 4-sided tablet. It's really cool looking. But their facial features of these 8 entities that existed before whatever, they looked feline-like, which was really strange. And loud. Oh, let me start with a little background. I live in North America, and the rest of my family still lives back home in Europe. Our relationship is not bad, but not especially close. We have been through a lot. 3 years ago, my dad took his own life in our family home. My brother was the one who found him. I am not sure if this is connected to what happened to him later, but maybe it is. Not coincidental. Anyway, during a conversation, he finally told me the story he had kept to himself for over a year. About a year ago, in broad daylight, he went out to the terrace. The sky was slightly cloudy but bright. As he looked up, he noticed the line of a being about half a mile high up in the sky. He said that it looked like a 3-meter tall humanoid with the head of a hawk or eagle in the body covered with dark brown fur. It had huge wings folded back behind it. It seemed to float without moving, and for a few seconds it looked directly into his eyes. They stared at each other for around 15 seconds, then suddenly the being vanished. It moved faster than the eye could follow. He said that its arms were muscular and human-like, but the head clearly belonged to a bird of prey. It did not flap its wings to stay in the air. The movements were unnatural, almost too smooth too fast to be a human. My brother told me the story with complete sincerity, and I believe he saw something. It happened in full broad daylight, and he described every detail clearly. He told our mother, but she did not react much, and the topic was dropped. He had no close friends, so he kept it to himself until now. I did some research to understand what it could have been. The closest matches I found were figures like Horus, Nisrach, and perhaps an Enki type being, an Anunnaki type being. I don't know what it could have been. Means it showed itself to him and not anyone else. But it makes me wonder what else might exist out there. Could be not the Mothman, but like the Snellygaster. The Snellygaster has like a hawk-like face. Also reptilian-like face, though. Not an Anunnaki type thing, though. Anunnaki didn't have bird-like faces, so not sure. Thundercats, Lion, oh, baby. Oh, yeah, 100%, Andy. 100%. Like you just said, like with in the old temples, you know, that's why I believe in North America, a lot of the feline ones are around the lower part of North America into Central and South America, because there's a lot more pyramids there. And the gods, I mean, obviously, if you're living in antiquity and these alien/demon comes out of the sky that looks like a fucking cat, you're going to think it's a god. We have a foot of snow. Holy shit. I just said in Sumner, Neutrino. Did you watch the video that I did the other day, Neutrino, on that? You would like that video. You would really like that one. Yeah, we don't have no snow. Well, we got a little bit, but it's not much. It's like it's enough to say $20 is $20. They liked it. If DB Mac is here, I will blow you a song. Oh shit! You know what? Here. This is for you, Shackleneck and Nick Carroll. That's for you, Shackleneck and Nicholas Carroll. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. It is time for a Lizzo story, my friends. It is time for the Lizzo story. I don't honestly, SDL, I don't care about my neighbors. I'm literally the only single family home. I live in a business district mainly. So like there's like a couple of people that live, not many in the area. So, and you know what I say? Fuck them. Fuck them. If they don't like the music, don't listen. right? If they don't like the music, don't listen. All right, here we go. This one is connected to the next one. You're welcome, Shackleneck. The rusty axle truck stop, nestled deep in the gnarled, pine-scented bosom of rural Maine, was less a place of pit stops and more of a sovereign nation, ruled with the iron fist and the heart of gold by Queen Lizzo. Her kingdom was a fragrant blend of stale coffee, diesel fumes, and the existential despair populated by a loyal court of truckers, mechanics, and, of course, her formidable cohort of lot lizards. Lizzo, a woman whose mere presence could make a grown man reconsider his life choices, presided over it all from her throne, a particularly greasy booth in the diner, radiating an aura of glitter and don't mess with me. Beside her most nights was Earl, her flustered boy toy. Earl, with his anxious eyes and nervous habit of smoothing his already slicked back hair, was more of a gesture than a consort. But his loyalty to Lizzo was absolute, forged in the fires of a shattered past that involved more than just late-night greasy spoon confessionals. Tonight, however, the usual symphony of clacking dishes, country music, and distant highway hum was pierced by an ominous counterpoint. A low rhythmic thump, thump, thump began to vibrate through the very foundations of the rusty axle. Originating from the dense woods behind the property, it wasn't the distant bass of a rave or a phenomenon that made the coffee cups rattle and the floorboards hum with a peculiar dread. Lizzo, mid-lecture to Brenda about the optimal application of discount eyeshadow, froze. Her well-manicured hand, adorned with a plastic ring that said "Boss Bitch," tightened around her coffee mug. Earl whimpered, a sound remarkably similar to a distressed chihuahua. "You hear that, Earl?" Lizzo's voice was low, devoid of its usual confidence. Earl nodded, eyes wide. "Sounds like a giant's taking a stroll, Lizzo. Or maybe a real big deer." Thump, thump, crack. A tree unseen gave up its struggle and snapped in the distance. The sound was closer now, accompanied by a faint, high-pitched that made the hair on Lizzo's arm stand on end. "That ain't no deer, Earl," Lizzo muttered, her gaze fixed in the darkened window facing the woods. A year ago, almost to the day, a similar sound had announced the arrival of Gizzard Goliath, a 50-foot tall, crimson-red rubber chicken demon escaped from some godforsaken deep underground military base, had wreaked havoc on her truck stop. The memory was fresh, vivid, a grotesque taboo of feathers, rubber, and pure unadulterated chaos. That night, Lizzo, Earl, and every truck stop denizen worth their salt had fought tooth and nail. Rhonda, tough as nails cook, had brandished a meat cleaver like a swordsman. Old man Higgins, a trucker whose rig was his life, had aimed his high beams and blared his air horn, temporarily disorienting the beast. Lizzo herself, fueled by righteous fury and a surprisingly potent mix of caffeine and stubbornness, had orchestrated the defense, using everything from flaming diesel rags to a strategically placed semi-trailer to trip up the monstrosity. Earl, bless his cowardly heart, had managed to disconnect the electrical wiring with a pair of pliers and a prayer, causing the monstrous fowl to short-circuit and finally collapse into a heap of smoking synthetic plumage. The relief had been short-lived. No sooner had the cheering began than a sleek black SUV with tinted windows had glided silently into the parking lot. Two men in sharp government-issued suits had emerged, their faces cold and expressionless. They surveyed the smoking carcass of the demon, then turned their unsettling gaze onto Lizzo. "An impressment engagement, Queen Lizzo," one of them said, his voice devoid of inflection, "but quite messy." The other had stepped forward, his eyes for a chilling moment shifted, the pupils elongated, the irises turning a slithering reptilian green. "This was merely a field test, madam. We'll be back. And when we do next time, the stakes will be considerably higher." Then, just as quickly, the eyes had returned to normal, and the men had vanished as mysteriously as they appeared, leaving Lizzo and Earl with a shared unspoken horror. Now the horror was back. "Oh no," Lizzo whispered, pushing herself from the booth. "Not again." The squawk was a deafening cacophony of screeching rubber and mechanical grinding. A massive, vaguely chicken-shaped shadow loomed over the tree line, blotting out the stars. Then, with a final earth-shattering thud, the creature burst free from the woods, its colossal form illuminated by the truck stop's neon glow. It was identical to the last one, only somehow angrier. A towering monstrosity of red rubber, its unblinking painted eyes seemed to glow with a malevolent mischief. Of enormous floppy comb jiggly with each terrifying lurch, its two massive feet, each the size of a small car, stomped the ground, sending tremors through the asphalt. Panic erupted. Truckers scrambled for their rigs, lot lizards screamed, and the night manager dove behind the counter, clutching a half-eaten donut like a talisman. "Stand down!" Lizzo roared, her voice cutting through the hysteria. She might have been the queen of the truck stop, but she was a queen nonetheless, and her subjects, however terrified, knew her voice. "Brenda, get the fire extinguisher. Shaza, those propane tanks need to be secured. Earl, where's that industrial strength glue you used on my tiara last week? And somebody get Rhonda out here with her cleaver." Earl, for all his fear, snapped into action. Glue, right. And my wrench set. We can short circuit this one too," Lizzo scoffed. "Not this time, honey. They learn. That's what that fancy DUMP or DUMB is for. Dumb. This one's got to be bigger and tougher." She grabbed a crowbar from her handy toolbox next to the diner door. "Rhonda, deep fryer oil on high." Truck stop transformed into a battlefield. Rhonda, a formidable woman with arms like a blacksmith, emerged from the kitchen, hefting a steaming pot of bubbling oil. "Coming, Queen." The rubber chicken demon let out another ear-splitting, its head swiveling, its bizarre rubbery beak opened wide to reveal nothing, just more rubber. It lunged, its massive body shaking, aiming for the diner. "Distract it," Lizzo commanded, pointing to the group of truckers. "Highlights, air horns, anything." Horns blared, lights flashed, momentarily confusing the behemoth. Brenda and Shaza, surprisingly agile, managed to spray multiple fire extinguishers into its face, coating its rubberized features with a thick white foam. The demon merely shook its head, letting out an annoying squawk. Earl, surprisingly quick, scaled the side of the nearby fuel trucker, wrench in hand. "I'm going for the neck. Looks like a seam," he yelled, attempting to pry open a flap on the demon's neck, a desperate hope to find the more wiring. Lizzo, meanwhile, led the charge, crowbar swinging, a veritable whirlwind of fury. She dodged a stomping foot that created a crater in the asphalt. Then, with a primal scream, plunged her crowbar into one of the demon's rubbery shins. It let out a pained, elongated of synthetic agony. The battle raged. Hot oil was splattered. More trees toppled. The truck stop was becoming systematically demolished. But Lizzo and her subjects fought with desperation of those defending their own home. They were a motley crew, but they were hers. Finally, after what felt like hours, Lizzo spotted its weakness. The demon, in a fit of rage, had snagged its foot on a thick power line connected to the main generator. An idea sparked. "Earl, the generator! Overload it! Now!" Lizzo screamed and pointed. Earl, still clinging precociously to the demon's neck, looked down, then up at the generator, then back to Lizzo. "Are you crazy, Lizzo? It'll blow the whole damn place." "We're going to blow anyway if you don't do it, Lizzo retorted, dodging a swipe from the demon's wings that ripped off the roof of the gas station kiosk. "Do it!" With a grunt, Earl, ever loyal, descended to the tanker, sprinted to the generator, fiddled with a few wires, and then, with a mighty yank, pulled the lever. A shower of sparks erupted, followed by a guttural hum, then a blinding flash. The 50-foot rubber chicken demon, its foot tangled in a supercharged power line, convulsed. A high-pitched electronic screech rent the air as thousands of volts surged through its synthetic body. Its eyes glowed brighter, then dimmed erratically. The smell of burning rubber filled the air. With one final shudder, thump, the monster toppled, crashing into a remaining diner structure, sending debris and screaming lot lizards flying. Silence, then a collective groan from the battered survivors. Lizzo, panting, eyes scanning her ruined kingdom, slowly straightened up. They had won again, just then. From the charred remains of the woods, a familiar hum emerged. A sleek, black SUV, its engine whispered quiet, glided into the devastated parking lot. The same two men in their immaculate suits stepped out. They surveyed the smoking carcass of the demon, the fractured asphalt, the demolished diner. Their faces were as placid as before, utterly unfazed. "Most tenacious," Queen observed, his gaze sweeping over her, taking in her disheveled hair and the crowbar still clutched in her hand. "You clean up nicely, even after a rather energetic dust-up." The second agent stepped forward, his eyes momentarily flickering to the disturbing reptilian green. A slow, chilling smile spread across his lips. "Impressive, Lizard Queen. But this was merely a test run for our new batch. The real assets are almost ready to hatch. Consider this a preview." Lizzo's heart hammered. A cold dread swept into her victory. She met his gaze, unafraid, but with a new grim understanding. Earl, wiping the grease from his face, stood beside her, his hand finding hers. The fight was never truly over. The government agents, with their reptilian eyes and their ominous promises, had been right. They would be back, and next time, Lizzo knew her truck stop might not be so lucky. What's up, 59th? How are you, buddy? Ominous promises. Georgianne, how are you? Wiley. Gotta love the chicken. Gotta. Old fucking Gus. It is, isn't it, 59th? It is. It is restoring nicely. I'm doing well. I am doing well, Georgianne. Thank you, Amanda. I still can't believe I found mango jewel pods. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. Samara Osborne, how are you? Yeah, he does. It says, "Squeeze me." Just a little, Neutrino. Just a little. Every chicken needs a choking. Hey, Shackleneck, I am not repeating that. What's up? Shut up your face. How are you? If you freeze once in a while, just restart it, buddy. That's all you got to do, unfortunately. Well, I got 59th. I got the Jewel 2. They sell them in England, right? So the original Jewel looks like that, and their pods look like this, right? So the Jewel 2 looks like this, and their pods look like they go on like this. And they have mango, apple, lychee, watermelon, tobacco, and all the rest. They're so good, though. So good. Oh, that's good, Samara. Even on Turkey Day, you had to work. Yeah, I got them from a guy that runs Evelyn's Vapes. It's called evelynsvapes.com. And he's real honest. Like I Instagram messaged him and said, "Hey, I'm sending. I just ordered my things. Can you let me know?" I was like, "I have a YouTube channel, and I'll shout your page out so people, if they want to order from you, they can. And they're cheap too. They're only $12.99 a pack. Like stateside, they're normally $20. In New York, they're $26. But you can't get Jewel 2 here. Revision, it was nice having you here tonight. Lizzo is awesome. Lizzo is awesome. This is not my experience, but this is one of my mother's many encounters with the paranormal. Before I was born, my mother, at the age of 17, lived with her mother in California. My grandmother managed an adult apartment building. This is why my mother could live with her. So 2 of the female tenants worked at a local ice cream parlor / restaurant. Side note, this was in the late 70s, early 80s. Anyway, 2 female tenants worked at this place. The restaurant would give out these little cute garters that you hung from your mirror or wore on your leg, etc. My mom went over to their apartment to get one in her favorite color, lavender, to hang on a rearview mirror of her car. My mom began to walk to the apartment these ladies were at. As she walked toward their door, she noticed their door was wide open. So she knocked and called their names. On hearing them call out, "Come in," she went in and found them in the bedroom talking. She stayed for a bit, got the garter she wanted. A few minutes later, she said her goodbyes, and they stayed in the bedroom as she proceeded out the apartment door. As she walked out the open door and turned to her right to go back out down the hallway to her apartment, she took 3 steps, and a male tenant that had been away for the time and that she or mother had never met yet, just knew he was living there with his roommates, away turned the corner as she took those steps facing him. No sooner had they made eye contact that she felt herself being hit in the solar plex by an invisible force so powerful it lifted her up off of the ground, propelling her backward and sideways back into the lady's apartment. The wind was completely knocked out of her, and she was extremely confused at what just happened. It had literally taken her breath away. She looked around to see if the ladies had seen what happened, but they were still in their room talking. She waited a bit to catch her breath and bravely walk out the door, looking cautiously if that person was still in the hall. He was gone. Needless to say, she ran to her apartment, still not believing what just happened. Now, a little bit more about the male tenant. My mother, after this incident, happened to her, to me, she would watch this man swim in the pool like a snake. His nose would barely be above the water, and his lips and chin down to his toes would be underwater. His eyes would dart back and forth as he would slow breaststroke across the pool, aka slither like a snake. He left no ripples behind. It creeped her out. So now I ask, was my mother at 17 thrown by maybe an evil force that this guy created? Or was she thrown backwards by something protecting her from the demonic force? That's a good, I had never thought about that. Truth Quest, how are you? Nice seeing you, Truth Quest. What's up, Jager? You just came in, right? I didn't miss you from before, did I? I don't believe I saw you. I've been looking. Still have no 5 rings, no Aramic. I hope Aramic's okay. Aramic never misses a live stream. What's up, 5T511? Biscuit Beans Beyond, how are you? That's an interesting name. There, Wolf, what's up, my friend? Aramic is always here. Marcy, how are you? I don't read the other thing. Matrix KT, how are you? I didn't read your other. I know, Aramic, our freaking Mothman expert, is not here. Truth Quest, that was part of my upload I did like a month ago, brother. I'm surprised you missed that. Hey, Karen Palmer, how are you? That was good. It was a good one because it actually, like, I listed all of the Romans that talked about the Cynocephali and like how they were pushed out of India and stuff. Tracy Thoughts, how are you? I wish I could send it to you. I wish I had the link to it. It was really good. I was getting sick of all of the like the channels talking about Cynocephaly, and all they would do is regurgitate the same bullshit. You know what I mean? So I literally deep dove and like looked at all of what old Roman, like all the Roman poets and anybody of substantial knowledge that talked about them in the past. It was actually, I'm not tooting my own horn, but it was pretty freaking good. Yeah, that's interesting, Shauna. That's interesting too. Well, Turbo, here's the thing with Saint Christopher. So if you deep dive into the Nephilim and the Raphaim, they were descendants of the Nephilim that lived in Canaan. Now, Saint Christopher, not only was he depicted with a dog head, but he was supposedly like 8 feet tall, taller than normal humans back then. And a lot of the Canaanites were of substantial height as well. So if you really look and deep dive into like the fallen angel lore, when they bred with the daughters of men, not only did they breed with the daughters of men, but they bred with animals, and they also did genetic engineering. So that could be the reason why he is depicted to be that. It's so crazy that I'm surprised you didn't see that video either, Turbo Christ, because I talked about that too. I talk about that in that video too, Truth Quest. That's crazy. You would like the video. I know you would, Truth Quest. Because I deep dove on that shit. What's up, broken ass prospector? That's a great name. Welcome to the live, my friend. So I'm going to start off by saying I am skeptical 100%. Wait. So I'll start by saying, in a skeptic, so I 100% understand people will doubt this. And I'm okay with it. I debated even sharing this with you guys. I graduated from a very small town in upstate New York in the region known as the Thousand Islands. Yes, like the dressing, it was invented here. Anyway, we have far more open land or woods than people. If you look across the St. Lawrence River, you will see Canada. Now that you know the setting, when I moved there my junior year of high school, I quickly learned the summer party spot was Wilson's Bay Beach in Cape Vincent. With the beach came a lady who collected all our beer cans and eventually bought a truck with all the money she got from our cans over the years, and the urban legend of what was called the fox monkey. It was an animal that walked like a monkey but looked like a fox and had been seen and heard at the beach and the surrounding areas. I, as any sane person would be, was extremely skeptical when my high school boyfriend I wasn't smart enough to leave behind, yet told me of this creature. He claimed to have heard weird things out at the beach at night, and there was a homeless man out there for a short while who also said he heard it and saw some weird things out there as well. Fast forward a few years, and I am in my early 20s, driving around with my two best friends, showing some guys we met from out of town the area. This ride led us to the beach at night and the surrounding areas. We were all laughing and talking while on the back road driving away from the beach. All of a sudden, we see that infamous glint of the eyes of an animal on the side of the road getting ready to cross. If you live in a rural area, you know how your automatic reaction is to slow down because you will probably at least have one dent or rogue deer on your car. I stopped to let it pass, and something roughly the size of a small coyote that looked like a dog and a wolf mix with dark, long, thick fur. We didn't even think anything of it until it got to the other side of the road, stopped for a second, stood up, and walked away on two legs like a human. None of us said a thing for a minute, and I said, did anyone else see that? And all four of the other passengers looked shocked and all replied something along of, yeah, what the hell was that? Me and my two best friends talk about it to this day and all recall it the same way. We call it the fox monkey because that is the name we heard and the only way we could semi-accurately refer to it as. Still have no idea what it was, but all three of us agree it was one of the scariest, most disturbing experiences we ever had. The creature never threatened us, but left all of us in extreme fright. What's up, Stormy Light? How are you? Julie, how are you, dear? One day, my family and I went to see the cemetery where my great aunt is buried. It's on a gravel road in the middle of nowhere. We get there and park. We all get out of the vehicle. I'm standing at the front of it while my family is trying to open the gate. The cemetery is surrounded by woods. While I am standing there, I hear rustling in the woods on the other side of the gravel road. My dad heard it as well. We both looked over, and as I am scanning the area, I see a huge dog-like thing. It's gray and mangy, but this dog is massive, like as tall as I was when it's standing normal. I'm 5'5". It had long, super skinny body, long legs, mangy fur. It looks at me for like 30 seconds and darts away, faster than I had ever seen any creature in the woods move. Now, I don't know what this could have been, but I do know that it was not a normal dog. Damn, 5 copies of Lost Boys. That's awesome. The greatest movie ever. Amanda, thanks for hanging out with us for the night. Gotta love the Lost Boys. Gotta love them. Actually, when I started my channel, my insignia or whatever was a cartoon picture of Kiefer Sullivan from the Lost Boys. I have told only 3 people my experience. 2 of them were involved that night, and 1 was my therapist. I'm a scientist, and although I am spiritual and believe in ghosts, I never really believed in demons or things of that nature. I did grow up in a haunted ghosts house, but since moving out, I have not experienced any paranormal activity, nor have I had any hallucinations. I'm hoping someone can help me figure out what this was. Anyway, this summer, I wasn't feeling well and was going to bed pretty early. While in my PJs, I saw the local Facebook page had posted about the Northern Lights being out. I had been trying to see them all year and kept missing them, so I grabbed a light jacket and headed out. Of note, I had no alcohol or drugs in my system. I drive north and found some fields to stop in, but word had gotten out, and every minute another car was passing by trying to find a dark area to see the lights. After my third spot was wrecked, it takes about 10 minutes for your eyes to adjust, and every headlight started you back to back at TO, I jumped in my car and drove further north. I was on the phone with a buddy of mine, as I'm a single female alone at night, and he made me feel safer. I hit the highway and then I saw it. An empty, abandoned land that used to be for the military, some unknown scientific experiments, but had become public as, I kid you not, the radiation levels had finally become safe to walk around it. I'd been there in the daytime and seen some of the old bunkers. Definitely something weird had gone on there, but it just so happened to be mostly an open field with no streetlights, making it perfect to spot the northern lights. I turned down the gravel road and drove about a mile in. I even made the comment to my friend that this place is spooky and these weird birds kept flying around. They look like bats, but when they landed, they didn't stand like bats do. I grew up in the country, so the dark does not bother me, and I kept going. I finally reached the middle and pull over to the side of the road. No one and nothing for as far as the eye could see. I grabbed my phone and stepped out, took a few photos, and then waited for my eyes to adjust. After about 10 minutes, right when my night vision was starting to work, my neck stood on end. I knew this feeling as it usually meant an animal was watching me. Again, country kid, as I'm on the phone mid-sentence, I turned to my left and my entire body froze. It was like an air was moving, kind of a moving shadow, but my mind also just knew it was something that walked on four legs, but it stood up, possibly a dog, but again, it was translucent. I started screaming and ran back to my car. I felt that thing hit my back and bounce off. I felt that thing hit my back and bounce off, like it had tried to go through me but couldn't. The second it touched me, it felt like a Dementor from Harry Potter, but worse, if possible. I have never felt such fear or dread. This was worse than death. I don't know, didn't believe in hell, so to me, death isn't scary. This made me feel like even in death, I would never feel happiness again. I jumped in my car and sped down the road, still screaming and praying. I kept screaming for my dad and brother, both dead, and Jesus, I am not Christian, to save me. The worst part is this. I'm driving in the wrong direction. I had to turn around and drive back out of there. I'm screaming the entire time for help. At some point, my phone call dropped and my service, which was fine on the way in, finally came back the second I hit the highway. My friend called back asking me what the hell happened, but I was still screaming and crying. I could barely get the words out on what I had seen. I drive all the way back down into town. I called a friend who lived nearby. I went to her place and stayed there for a couple hours to calm down. I didn't know that she was a Christian, and it was luck that she believed in this stuff. I finally got the courage to go home, and she gave me something for protection. I took a shower to warm up, but my back felt cold, like something had cut a thin line down my spine. There wasn't any marks that I could see, but I had to sit in the shower on my back with my back to the wall because I kept feeling like something was going to touch me. I lost my voice for 9 days after that and had to lie to my friends about and my coworkers about reasoning why. And I haven't had any weird experiences again. Sometimes, though, if something touches my back in a certain way, I have a jolt of panic out of nowhere. Other than that, I have had no other issues. I don't talk to people about any of these. Thank you for allowing me to share. Truth Quest, did you know in the comic books, the Lost Boys, the guy, Kiefer Sullivan's character didn't die because he didn't die when he was posted up. Bigfoot disappearing or going translucent before walking into trees also. Yeah, I've heard that, Shauna. I've heard that. That's what I said, Wiley. Sutherland. Yeah, he didn't die, because if you remember in the movie when Grandpa staked him, he didn't die. He just laid there. He was still alive, like he was still alive. So he didn't die. In the comic books, he leads the charge again, like after that. And sadly, Michael, what was the brother's name? Corey Haim's character. Sadly, he becomes a vampire in the end of that. You're welcome, STL. I got more, actually. 5 rings! What's up, brother? Lucas Williams, what's going on? Yeah, there's a whole like find the Sammy becomes a vampire. He goes back in the end and ends up becoming a vampire at the end of it all. He goes back to San Carlo or whatever it was. 5 rings doesn't say hi to me though. What's up, big dog? Oh. All right. Last Lizzo story. Remember, this one is connected. Well, I didn't see it. I must not have seen it. No, it's not in the movies, Truth Quest. It's in the comic books. See, originally there was supposed to be, the sequel was supposed to, they were supposed to follow the comic books in the way of the, but the original creator of the Lost Boys, after they made the movie, they want whoever did part 2, they didn't do it how he wanted, so he pulled out of it. He's like, I don't want any part of this. He goes, that's not how it's supposed to be in the comic books. Look it up, like go online sometime and just go deep on it. It's pretty crazy. It's pretty, you can read everything about it in online too. It's pretty sick. Because the comics are pretty hard to find nowadays and age. I wish I had them. All right. Remember, this one is connected to the last one. The humid Maine air clung to the air like cheap perfume. Or the humid Maine night clung to the air like cheap perfume. A familiar scent at Mama Lizzo's truck stop. Deep in the forgotten clearing, nestled amongst ancient whispering pines, Lizzo's kingdom pulsed with neon and diesel. Inside, under the glow of flickering fluorescent lights, Queen Lizzo herself, a woman of formidable bosom, a laugh that could shatter pint glasses. Broken ass, thank you so much. A laugh that could shatter pint glasses, and a heart as big as her bouffant reigned supreme. Her subjects, a motley crew of lot lizards, long-haul truckers, and locals adored her. Lizzo wasn't just a madam. She was a protector, a provider, a force of nature draped in leopard print and sequins. Life at Mama Lizzo's had its challenges, of course. Just last week, they faced down the dreaded rubber chicken demon, a grotesque entity that materialized from spilled motor oil and a collective despair of missed delivery windows. Its clucking and flailing limbs threatened to unravel the very fabric of the truck stop's sanity. But Lizzo, armed with a tire iron and her trusty industrial strength can of hairspray, had led the charge. Her battle cry, "Get the fowl out of my house!" echoed as they rooted and flapped the menacing back into the ether it spawned from. Victory was sweet, celebrated by lukewarm coffee and stories that grew taller with each telling. The peace, however, was as fleeting as good night's sleep on a sleeper cab. Days after the rubber chicken debacle, a sleek black sedan, far too clean for the gravel lot, glided into a halt. Out stepped two figures, immaculately dressed in tailored suits that seemed to absorb the ambient light. Agent X, a man whose eyes like polished obsidian and a smile that never quit reaching, led the way. Behind him, Agent V, thin and angular, his movements unnaturally precise, surveyed the kingdom with an air of clinical disdain. Lizzo, perched on her usual stool at the counter, nursing some lukewarm coffee, eyed them with suspicion. "Well, well, look what the cat dragged in." Her voice a gravelly purr. "Fancy pants, ain't you? Lost your way from the Bond villain convention?" X's voice was a low hiss, devoid of humor. "We are here on official government business, ma'am. We have reason to believe this establishment is a nexus of anomalous activity." "Anomalous activity?" Lizzo snorted, adjusting her rhinestone-studded glasses. "Honey, the most anomalous thing here is the price of gas. Now, what can Lizzo do for you? Fresh cup of joe?" She gestured to the percolator, which gurgled ominously. V's eyes narrowed. "Your recent incident with the poultry-based entity didn't go unnoticed, nor did your usual resilience. We know what you are, Lizzo." As she spoke, the skin around her eyes shimmered, a fleeting glimpse of scales beneath. X's jawline seemed to subtly lengthen, his pupils elongated into vertical slits. The air at the diner grew thickly charged with an unnatural chill. The murmur ran through Lizzo's subjects. Big Al, a trucker whose beard could hide a small family, clutched his coffee mug tighter. Candy, one of Lizzo's gals, gasped, dropping a sugar packet. Lizzo, however, merely raised her perfectly sculptured eyebrows. "Oh, you mean you know what I do you? And what exactly would that be, sugar tits?" "You are an anomaly, a rogue element in this meticulous cataloged world," X snarled, his voice now layered in an unsettling rasp. He shed his human facade entirely. His skin peeled back like shedding cell phone to reveal iridescent green scales. A long forked tongue flickered from his mouth. V followed, his suit now merely a thin covering over a sleek reptilian form. Their eyes glowed with an ancient predatory malice. "We are here to ensure that you neither nor this kingdom of yours ever existed. No witnesses, no evidence." "You want to wipe us out?" Lizzo chuckled, a deep rumbling sound that seemed to vibrate the very foundation. "Honey, people been trying to wipe out independent women since the dawn of time. Don't work then. Won't work now, won't work at my house. Get out." The two reptilians lunged, moving with shocking speed, but Lizzo was quicker. She didn't fight with brute force. No, she fought with an accumulated wisdom of decades of dealing with drunk truckers, entitled inspectors, and the occasional escaped farm animal. With a flick of her wrist, she hurled the lukewarm coffee, scalding X's exposed scales as he hissed, recoiling. She grabbed the fire extinguisher from the wall, blasting V, covering the reptilian agent in a choking cloud of white foam. Her subjects, galvanized by their queen, joined the fray. Big Al swung a tire iron with surprising agility, barely missing X's head. Candy unleashed a barrage of stale potato chips, surprisingly effective at disorienting the agents as they tried to rub the foam out of their eyes. The whole truck stop became chaotic, a chaotic ballet of greasy revenge. Lizzo, meanwhile, was a whirlwind. She grabbed a giant novelty foam finger from a forgotten sports promotion and used it to poke V repeatedly in the eye. A series of enraged reptilian hisses as X recovered, noticed a faint shimmering in his hand, a device, no doubt meant to incinerate the truck stop. Acting on pure instinct, Lizzo kicked him square in his reptilian nuts. The agent doubled over, emitting a sound like a deflated balloon combined with a dying crocodile. "Now, y'all listen here," Lizzo declared, planting her sequenced boot on X's chest. "Nobody burns down my kingdom but me. If I ever decide to upgrade to a resort spa." She glared down at the two defeated, squirming agents. "And as for you, you want to wipe out history, honey? I know a place where history gets rewritten." With a powerful stomping of her foot, Lizzo brought her heel down on a specific greasy spot on the floor, right where the rubber chicken demon had been seen. The earth groaned, a shimmering crimson rift tore through the air, revealing a vortex of fire and brimstone. The distinct smell of sulfur and desperation wafted out. Lizzo had tapped into something ancient, something unspeakable, known only to the most powerful of lot lizards. From the swirling inferno, enraged a figure that made X and V's reptilian scales prickle with genuine terror. It was Saddam Hussein, not as they knew him from the history books, but as he was now. All in black leather gimp suit, complete with a studded collar and surprisingly jaunty cap. He was being led, or perhaps leading, an even more imposing figure draped in shadows, exuding an aura of pure, unadulterated evil, yet wearing a sly, knowing grin. This was Satan himself, holding the leash. "Saddam darling," Lizzo boomed. Or "Saddam, darling," Lizzo boomed, waving a hand. "I got a couple government agents here for you. They're trying to erase my history. I figured you'd appreciate a re-education project." Saddam's eyes, visible through the gimp mask eye holes, gleamed with unholy delight. "Ah, infidels, bureaucratic reptiles trying to oppress the common man. An excellent catch, my dear Lizzo," he gestured with a whip that appeared from nowhere. Satan chuckled, a sound like grinding tectonic plates. "My love has been rather bored lately. Thank you for the entertainment, Lizzo." The last thing Agent X and Agent V saw before they were yanked into the fiery abyss was Saddam Hussein, still in his leathery gimp suit, chaining them both to a massive fiery pillar. A massive, vibrant purple object, undeniably a 14-inch rubber donkey wiener, materialized in Saddam's hand. He wagged it menacingly. "Now we'll discuss evidence," Saddam purred, his voice amplified by the depths of hell. The agents, once so cold and emotionless, finally broke. A single reptilian tear, hot and salty, rolled down X's scaly cheek as Saddam advanced, singing a surprisingly cheerful, off-key rendition of "I Want to Break Free." Above ground, the portal snapped shut with a sizzle, leaving only the lingering smell of ozone, sulfur, and, well, something that smelled like poop. Lizzo dusted off her hands, straightened her hair, and surveyed her still standing kingdom. "All right, everyone," she announced to her shaken but triumphant subjects. "Clean up on aisle 3. Someone fetch me a fresh pot. And for God's sake, put some Conway Twitty. We got a good story to tell now." And as the truckers and lot lizards slowly returned to their routines, a new legend was etched into the annals of Mama Lizzo's truck stop. A tale of reptilian agents, a portal to hell, and the unyielding power of a queen who knew exactly when to call in a favor, Saddam Hussein and his fabulous boyfriend, Satan. The Maine Woods, it seemed, held more secrets than anyone could ever imagine. I do too, there, Wolf. I do too. They've always got to make the cameo, especially when old Saddam and his gimp suit show up. I did, Truth Quest. I did. I don't know, Neutrino. I don't know on that one. You don't know who Ed Gein is? Tracy thoughts he was a serial killer. He was who Texas Chainsaw Massacre was created about. What's that other one? That TV show, Mind Talker or Mind something. He was a crazy, crazy man. Mama told me. Being out in the bush, I bet you have, broke ass. I bet you have. No. That's Earl. Earl or Boy Toy is the king. Remember, when I joined the team, I was a dork. I was definitely like, all right. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't really believe in the supernatural, but this is something that happened in my childhood that I still tell people about as one thing that I can't really explain. When I was 10, my family rented a house that had a carport that was later converted into an enclosed garage. Because of this, there was a room in the basement full of old furniture and junk from the homeowner that could only be entered through ground level window and the garage. The room had a false wall behind in the back separating it from a hot water tank, which you could access from the door in the basement. But the other half of this room was inaccessible aside from this window. Being 10 years old, this made the room a really cool hangout for me and my friends, since it was completely isolated from the rest of the house and the adults couldn't enter it, at least without some significant effort. One day I was down there with my younger sister and my best friend. We had a game we'd like to play, which I think we'd call Nurse. Oh man, one person was chosen to be the nurse. The other kids pretended to sleep, and the nurse left the room and turned the lights off. The kids left inside the room would jump up around and make all kinds of noises. And was the goal of the nurse to enter the room quick enough, turn on the lights, and catch someone moving. Whoever was caught was it then. Oh, that's not what I played when I was a kid. My sister was chosen as the nurse. She left the room. Me and my best friend proceeded to jump around the bed and holler all that. Then my sister comes back downstairs, pokes her head through the window, and does not turn the light. I stare at her and see that there is something wrong with her eyes. Of course, the room is still dark, but it looks like she had fallen and there's a huge bruise surrounding her eye, or like it's bleeding. It's hard to describe. But the flesh around her eye looked sort of sunken and wrinkled. I'm staring at her, trying to figure out if this was a trick of the light or she had really hurt herself. She doesn't say a thing. Then I hear my best friend next to me say, "What happened to your eye?" My sister then covers her eye and the one that looked injured and runs away. My best friend and I look at each other horrified, wordlessly confirming that we both saw the same thing. I am thinking that my sister had hurt herself in some way, so me and my best friend run upstairs, where I find my sister in the kitchen talking to our mom. I grab her by the shoulder and ask her what's wrong, what happened. But when she turns around, her eye is fine. I tell her what me and my friend saw, that she came downstairs, she looked like her eye had been gouged or something. My sister gets annoyed and says she didn't go downstairs. This, of course, really freaked me and my friend out. And being 10, I made up some elaborate ghost story to explain what I had seen. We were so scared I can't remember if we ever went back and played in the basement again until it was converted into a bedroom for my older brother. But as the years went on, I still thought about the incident. I tried asking my sister about it a few times. She continued to insist she never went downstairs. Once she told me that she did go downstairs, but she thought I had just been trying to scare her. When I asked her why, she covered her eye and couldn't explain it. Last time I asked her, she didn't remember. My best friend still remembers it to this day. We both recall the same incident. I wish I could get a straight answer from my sister, though. Maybe I could accept the huge bruise was some sort of weird shadow for me. All right. All right, guys. I am ending the live stream. I am drained. Two and a half hours. I had a nice night with y'all. Please, everyone, have a wonderful Nick Carroll. Happy birthday, my friend. Shackleneck, if you're still with us, have a nice birthday. DB Mac, I don't know if you heard me say it. I said it for you, buddy. Yeah, I do got to eat some honey and lemon. I got to figure out a way of just getting some sleep. I try to sleep and I just toss and turn. Guys, thank you for hanging out with me again. So please have a wonderful rest of your week. I'll see you next week. And I can't unplug Truth Quest. It's so hard. It's just too hard, man. I just, my brain. I will literally lay down and then I'll find myself downstairs and working on some stuff. It's just too nutty. But anyway, really quick, before we go, Tracy, you're wondering Ed Gein. There's an Ed Gein TV show on Netflix, and the guy that played Jax Teller, Charlie, whatever his last name is, he plays it. It's an amazing show. It's called Monster: The Ed Gein Story. Check it out. It's literally based on his life. So, all right. 5 rings. Neutrino, Karen, DB Mac, Hollow, Shauna. Mr. Shackleneck, Eric, SDL, Edith, Stormy Light, all have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for hanging out with me tonight.